Good afternoon and good evening. Happy Tuesday, August 26, 2025. Welcome to another episode of Value First Communication with Klemen. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. How are you, Chris?
I'm hanging in there. It is busy inbound season, and we just made it a little bit busier by creating an event just before inbound. But it's coming together, man. I'm excited for it on Thursday.
Me as well. I think we're planning it to be timely delivered, but
Yeah.
at least myself was underestimating how busy anyway that week before inbound is for each and every one. So,
Right.
but yeah, super excited. Even if we just all show up and talk about it, it's super
Yeah.
valuable for everyone who can join live on or on demand.
Yep. That's our goal. I think we know there's going to be uh, a ton of value created, right? And that's really kind of putting this framework to the test, if you will, in terms of, uh, could how you put something like this together, what the goals are, who's involved in doing it, and for what reasons, and then afterwards, like, was it valuable enough to be consumed? All these things, and like the timing of it, right? Like, I think that's the part which uh, leads into today's principle, and we're gonna touch on that, but then we'll get into like kind of a preview of the event. Um, I just have to say, like, I'm hopeful that this framework works because I don't have to try to like make all the different things that we're doing like fit together. It first happened yesterday with Danielle, and she's on, I think, 6 or 7, principle 6 or 7. We're gonna do an episode after inbound. Um, and I said, we'll have to try hard not to avoid like doing a recap show, right? The Monday after inbound, like you almost feel obligated to do that, like if you went to inbound. Um, and all I do is I give it to I give the transcript of our show to Claude. And yesterday was episode 6, which was about pace over speed. So like showing up at a consistent pace instead of, kind of like what a lot of people are doing this week, like, oh, inbound's happening, like speed up, do everything all at once, versus just showing up in the community, which we talk a lot about on this show. And I just gave him the transcript. And this is, of course, in a value first measurement, Claude. And principle 7 is value realization over activity tracking. So, like, coming back from inbound and like, was it worth it? Like, did we just get a bunch of leads, or did we actually get value, out of the event? Did we build valuable relationships? So kind of an aside, but today, as we're leading up into this, principle 6, we will enable natural sharing rather than forcing virality. Right? What we have 20 plus experts showing up on Thursday for, like, not there's no expectations of virality like anywhere close to this event. We are here to share knowledge and have meaningful conversations. And when you have the right people showing up in the right ways, it tends to, like, they're proud of it. So they share it, right? Their networks see it. There's trust in that network. So then it gets shared, further. Um, so let me just read through this principle and then we'll get into kind of what we're doing and where we're, I'll say we're proud of what's happening on Thursday. Uh, so principle 6, we will enable natural sharing rather than forcing virality. We believe the best content spreads naturally when it provides exceptional value to real people facing real challenges. We commit to creating communications worth sharing rather than manufacturing artificial viral mechanics or pressuring people to share. This means we will focus on creating genuinely valuable, share-worthy content rather than manipulative viral hooks and attention-grabbing headlines. Make sharing easy, but never manipulative or pressure-based, rather, kind of like incentivizing artificial amplification. Uh, we will respect natural sharing patterns and motivations rather than gaming social algorithms for maximum reach. If you know anything about LinkedIn Live metrics and how not good they are, you know that I'm not trying to game anything. Uh, we're going to measure organic sharing as a signal of true value creation rather than promotional campaign success alone. Design content that becomes more valuable when shared rather than depleted through distribution. As I'm reading through this, I remember why this was so on point with the Danielle episode after Inbound, because we talk about LinkedIn Live metrics are terrible, right? But then you go to Inbound and you have people telling you directly how much value you create for them. And that's so hard to measure. But
Yeah.
like part of the beauty of the in-person events is it's a way to confirm that value is being created when the metrics are nowhere near where people want them to be, usually, especially if you're used to like this content calendar mechanism and just not showing up every day and just like big push once a year, we're going to be at Inbound, let's make it worth it, right? We're just not in that world anymore. And when you're in those situations, like we got to get leads, it's the end of the month, we got to do something, then you are forced to try and create and manufacture things like virality. Meanwhile, people's their challenges, their pains, like all the things that they want to be dealt with aren't being dealt with. So I've said a lot. Um, I'd love to know like what comes to mind as I share this principle.
I would say, this is the whole purpose of the event we're doing on Thursday. The whole idea, what started a few weeks ago after one of our live discussions. We had a quick chat around one of the viral posts, let's say it, that I made. Changed my mind. Every HubSpot has a data hygiene challenge. Viral, not. I think it got a lot of engagement. That hey, this is a topic that is important. That a lot of people care. Solution partners, admins, internal experts using HubSpot. I would say the whole community kind of showed up to confirm that hey, this is a problem. And the whole idea of the data summit was, yes, let's bring together experts who have their opinions, expertise, and experience, data plus HubSpot at whatever stage of the journey, to just talk about it, to help people. That's why we plan it for a week before Inbound. Get ready, their mind gets ready for what's coming at Inbound. Fun enough, I just saw Pete Caputa post earlier today. He was just, I read the first two paragraphs that I had to finish, but he made a screenshot of his impressions and metrics, and he was kind of complaining about the numbers from the LinkedIn algorithm and whatnot. Every one of us, I guess, who is creating content, you want to confirm somewhere internally in your mind that, hey, it's worth it. And that's what we all are looking for, numbers, obviously. But as you said, now a lot of that is just not possible to measure. I would say, no, my experience is now for inbound, and talking about inbound, not for the past day, but for the past weeks, and then talking with people. Hey, I'll be at inbound. Are you going there? For weeks now, I'm super excited for each and every one that I'll meet at inbound. And I couldn't get to that stage, I guess, if I would start yesterday. To just hey, yes, we have an event coming next week. We need to make sure we reach out to each and everyone and just meet with everyone there. So I think, yeah, that kind of pace over rush is definitely important, and that is, if you're looking to get one post out a month and you want to make that one viral, I mean, good luck with that.
Right.
But if you show up every day and have 500 impressions every day in a year, I mean, you'll have a lot of impressions. And then on the other side, it's on a daily basis, it feels good when you have more impressions, let's say, for a post. But just before we went live, there was a comment on my post from a few days ago, which didn't go anywhere according to metrics and impressions. But one of the solution partners commented, hey, this is the exact topic we were discussing yesterday internally about a customer we started working with. So I'm really curious how you could help us mine that portal. One comment changed that post of 300 impressions into a super useful conversation started post. And it's hard to say which of those posts or which of those topics are, or what do you need to do. And it's for sure not viral, but if that triggers someone's attention, and you get in touch with someone who is willing to listen to you and really have a conversation about something, and if you have one post per week like that, that means one completely different discussion a week with someone who is already aligned with your ideas, with who trusts you because of you showing up there. So yeah, I mean, coming back to it's hard to measure those stuff. Anyway, as you said, yeah, I know LinkedIn Live. I don't think anyone can see thousands of impressions. For some reason, it's not happening. Even though I believe this is a way to go. That's why we're doing it. But yeah, showing up consistently, talking about topics, enable others, share thoughts, ideas. I think what you're doing with all the value first sessions is really, I mean, I'm grateful for how you help me and everyone else. You show up. You're here to facilitate communication, help
Right.
others share thoughts, show up, and then that's how you build business
Yeah.
in the future, I guess.
Well, that's how you get seen online now, and by AI. Like, we just had an admin hug today that was about video, right? And how everything's getting impacted from an SEO perspective, except for video. Like, video is still powerful. Like, surprise,
Yeah.
humans showing up on, like, please, nobody be surprised. It's still the year of video. It's been the year of video for like 10 years, right? And people still aren't doing video. because it's hard when you put all this, prep and expectation. When you show up once a month on video, it needs to get like 100,000 impressions or hundreds of leads or whatever to make you feel like the 4 weeks of work that you put into it, the
Yeah.
8 weeks, the 6 months of work that people put in to webinars, and then just not understanding the audience of they're moving every day and like things happen, technical difficulties happen, and when you put in that work and then just it can just go away so quickly, right? All the expectations change like the more often you show up, right? And
Yeah.
going live, like production, expectations change even when you share it later, right? You're like, here's this live stream that I did. They're not looking for all this, super produced like fly-ins and lower thirds and all this stuff. It's like, hey, I just was on a stream talking about this thing that you just mentioned. Might be helpful for you. And then like go right to minute 20, like in 37 seconds. And that's the thing, right? So I think that's what natural sharing looks like, honestly, right? It's like, oh, yeah, I just did this thing. That's going to be useful for you, right? Instead of, hey, I did this thing, person I've never met before. I want you to consume it and convert. So please, like you didn't mention it at all, but I want you to see it, right? And that, or there's lots of case studies to show how bad virality can be in terms of bringing a bunch of people into your network that are not target audience, right? And it creates a lot of noise. So when you manufacture engagement in that way, it doesn't lead to manufactured revenue, like usually, right?
Yeah.
And that's where just this issue of fit and what we're going to talk about on Thursday goes back to, like, we had a great discussion last week, like you and I, about like the timing, the context, where people are in the journey, like matters more than ever in terms of relevance and knowing how to structure your system, your data architecture to receive and create data that's relevant for those points in the journey, right? So I'm gonna pull up my screen and show everyone this in-process newsletter that will be published after this show. Because I am really excited at the way this has come together. And again, like inside of a month, and I'd love for you to share, if you, however much you're willing, how this is not just for fun, right? There's a go-to-market strategy, like cause for this, right? And it started with that post that you mentioned. Like, hey, the problem that we all know exists, yep, still exists. 100 people comment, nobody's giving solutions. We think we've got some solutions. So how can we help people become aware of these solutions? It's not going and paying for a bunch of LinkedIn ads and trying to make pretty pictures like this. So I kind of like the way this one looks, but it's wow. Can we get 20 plus experts that are known and trusted to show up and educate on this topic, right? So how share like why this sounded like a good idea to you.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was, yes, it's definitely something I want to do. Because of that post and as you mentioned, I keep hearing and seeing people talking about data challenges from all different sorts of angles. It can be sparse data. I just had an interesting discussion on Sprocketeer Slack around syncing emails on Outlook to HubSpot and all the hacks you need to do to really make it work, which means without that, you don't have the full context in HubSpot. So it's, data collection, if you will, is a challenge. Then all the outdated records, and then all the messed up data, and all that is what I see on portals, what I talk to people. And it's such a broad and complex topic that it's hard to say, yes, there is a expert or a tool to solve them all. And I don't feel,
strategy,
and
right?
it's so complex. And based on what the challenge is, you need to address it differently. If the challenge is, data is not, transferred correctly or collected first and then transferred from marketing to sales to customer success, it's a data challenge, but it's a completely different challenge compared to outdated data in your portal. And there are different experts and different tools who can help with that, and in different processes you need to set up. So that's why I really believe that the data summit, as we envisioned and planned it now, is really bring all the experts in one place, structure it so that we all talk about the parts and aspects around data that we all feel comfortable. But all that together really covers more or less everything you need to care about: the customer journey, the bow tie, the flywheel. Everything will be more or less covered. You can map that to any of the processes you have internally, regardless of how you do business. And if you're enterprise sales, if you're B2B, if you're B2C, I think it all fits to whatever and however you're selling, because it will be covered from all aspects. And I personally don't expect anyone watching all 8 hours. It's not the purpose of it, but it will be a super valuable collection of resources that if you watch that, when you have a challenge, you have a resources to go there to start thinking. And for every of the experts there, we'll be sharing the knowledge openly, with the idea that this is only a conversation starter for further discussions. And that's how every expert is, I personally believe, kind of called in from what's in it for me directly. It's really brand building. Going back to what we talked about, video, about presence online and all that. This is how I believe should things be done, and why webinars are still super valuable resource. Why video is here to stay. As I said, it's a year of video for the past 10 years. Why live events are so valuable. And back to initial of thought of measuring the value from inbound. Yes, we'll all be chasing leads and opportunities, and then how many deals will open after inbound and whatnot. But you'll be meeting with so many people that you might already been talking to over Zoom, LinkedIn Lives. You've been watching them. You can build relationship with them.
Yeah.
In a month, you might want to have a LinkedIn Live around something, and you just reach out to that Chris you just met at inbound randomly, and you talk to him. And hey, this is the same guy who I'm seeing every day on LinkedIn. Yes, I want to talk to him, maybe about how to do a webinar, or how to start LinkedIn Live, or how to how to do something. And that Chris you talked with at Inbound will be more than willing to talk to you because you have a relationship. It won't be a cold outreach. So this is the hidden value of everything, which is really hard to measure.
And it's
And
but it's for this is where like honest to God, I'm not like you said, you don't have to chase leads like to get them to show up, right? Yeah, I don't even think you have to measure them. When you don't have them as goals, you start to measure other stuff like real quickly, right? And you get to the things that you know and feel like, oh, this was a good conversation. Oh, this relationship progressed in a way that I didn't expect, right? And here's the closest I'm gonna get to like leads, but the purpose behind it, like, is the reason for doing it, and then like revenue happens, and that's all in the business strategy, right? I'm talking about profoundly, where we've got some cool new flows that are gonna help people. Like one of the problems that we know we need to help solve is that people do not know how to talk about their HubSpot challenges. So when they go ask for help, it is very hard to help them without some kind of discovery motion and lots of calls and getting in the portal. And, so we've developed some stuff. So I'm going to be at the booth sometimes with like a tablet in hand, like, hey, tell me about your problem. And we're going to run it through this, AI powered, request for proposal generator to take your challenge and turn it into a meaningful help request that pros can actually respond to meaningfully without all the process that nobody likes, right? And technically, that's going to be, pipeline or a lead or whatever, but I don't care about that because it's actually helping the person move forward with their challenge, right? Like, because we've seen people, it's very hard to help somebody that says, hey, I got to get more out of HubSpot. Can you help me clean my data? Like, we want to do this thing better, right? We want to use this one tool amidst 1,000 tools available on this platform. But don't look at any of the rest of our portal. Just help us with this one, right? Like all the things, right? So I honestly, I know I don't have to believe that I'm being helpful. Like I know that I'm being helpful when I ask for that email address to get the thing. Because we're not even saying you have to post it on the marketplace. It's like here's a RFP done for you. Go and take it to the other booths that are around. See what the price should be. Like ours is going to include like the range of cost and all this stuff that people have not been talking about out in the open. So naturally we have a customer base that doesn't understand the cost of getting help with HubSpot, building stuff, strategy, all this stuff, right? And we're done with that, right? That nobody's winning from that, right? So that's as close as I get, but that's what like I'd like this. The data summit came up. It meant a little more for you also because of, you were thinking about a change to the go-to-market at the time, right?
Yeah.
What would you have done if not for this event?
I mean, what else I would?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, I would be trying to write more, let's say, content pieces. But the value of organizing such an event, I believe, is so much bigger than me making 5 more posts in the past week. if you look at my my last week of posts, 70% of them included something around data values, data summit, because I really believe this is a valuable resource. I want to make sure people do see it. I am sending DMs to people I was in touch with in the past, not to anything, but to share valuable content. I believe we all can just learn from each other. And I think we already talked about that a while ago. I was listening to an interesting podcast, probably back in May or even sooner, from one of the VCs who was asked, with SaaS and vibe coding and everything, you can build a nice app pretty quickly. You can vibe code it. Of course, it's not production ready. It's not SOC 2 compliant and whatnot. But for a specific case, you can have a working version of MVP pretty quickly, and you can replicate replicate a DocuSign or something rather quickly. So then, if the software development is not a moat for SaaS companies anymore, what is it? So how a SaaS company can win, a product company can win the game? And the answer from the VC was the distribution. If you have that, if you nail how to go to market, how to build credibility, how to stand out from all the noise, go to HubSpot Marketplace. How many thousands of apps are there? You need to stand out. You need to people need to know who you are, and you get to the level of credibility by building trust, but by sharing valuable, by doing stuff differently, and openly sharing value is not something that a typical content creator or a marketing team is doing, because we were not taught and trained to do so.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I'm dedicated and super excited about the event. I mean,
Yeah.
you
It goes
invested
against
a lot
everything that we're taught in terms of building for conversion and not for value. Because those things are often counter to each other. When you're trying to force conversion, you can accidentally be not really valuable to the person you're trying to convert, because you're asking them to do something first before they get the value. So again, value first, lead with that. But you were like the 10th person that I had talked to this summer. This was a month ago. So July 22nd, I think, was the show. That was rethinking the product, trying to do something different. And it was the same message I had for everybody else. It's sounds like a wonderful idea, but the need to educate the market on the product and what it does and what the problem even is, especially related to data cleanliness and data maintenance and all this stuff. Right? We just saw 100 comments of people understanding what the problem is with no recommendations on how to solve it. Right? So if you show up with a new product, right, the slow burn without the speed and the agility and the resources, right? At some point, by the time you do enough without the big wins here and there, it's just so hard to compete. Because once it is good enough, how fast are the LLMs and the HubSpots of the world just going to solve for it themselves? And this is how we got to this, okay, let's go big, right? There's no better distribution right now than just being in the market with the people that you're trying to help, in the conversations every day with other trusted people, right? Like what Klemen mentioned is, if you didn't have this, I would have to create content. I would have to carry the burden of doing all this stuff that I know I have to do. And now I don't, right? Now we get a group of people together that all have a shared kind of mission and goals and thought process around this. So we'll see if we can do this in a real clippable way so that we can make a little ad here of our own, I guess. But we'll run through this event, and we're both really excited. I definitely appreciate you a ton on the work that you've done to help put this together. Think we make a pretty good team, if I do say so myself. But really what I'm describing is that I haven't published a lot on, but I've definitely talked about it internally at Profoundly, is this concept of expert-led growth, right? Like literally the people with the expertise, the people that can create value, make it so they want to create the value in a way that works for them, right? Like the people are showing up on Thursday because it's something they already talk about, they already love to talk about. There's very little, almost no prep, like for most of them. And we're going to end up creating a lot of value, right?
Maybe a comment and a thought here. What kind of surprised me when I started reaching out one-on-one to all the experts, inviting them for Data Summit. Several of them said, I don't have a ton of time to prepare anything, but if I just need to show up for 30 minutes or 1 hour to talk about stuff I anyway talk about, count me in. Whatever time you need, whatever topic that seems comfortable for me. People are and instead of and then in 1 hour each of the experts will share so much value and so many thoughts that you can then easily create into content for the next 2 weeks or a month. So instead of thinking for hours to write content, even for the experts, showing up will be a super valuable resource. But then combine all that into the event where there's no prep needed. Experts just show up and expert-led growth, as you said, combine together a super valuable resource.
Yeah, and this part is key, and then I promise we'll get into the agenda. But when you align with how experts naturally want to share knowledge rather than extracting value from them, right? Magic happens. In that value, what this extraction looks like is, hey, I want you to come, and this goes both ways. Like, I can talk there, but how many leads am I going to get? Like, are you going to pay me for talking? Like, what's in it for me? As soon as I get to if that sentence comes up, right, it's not a fit, right, for the value first content play, right? And I'm totally okay with that. Like, this isn't for everybody, right? But if that's your first priority, then it's not a fit, right? What it looks like from my side is saying, hey, you're going to come to my event or our event, and if you get a lead, I'm expecting 10% or whatever you sell that person, because I helped you, I gave you a space to create content and distributed it for you. We did all this work, right? None of that. Not one person out of 25 has mentioned anything like that to me. Yeah. I'm pretty sure not to you either, right? Yeah, that exactly. Makes it easy for them to show up, and it gets put in the secret sauce is it gets put in a different priority bracket than the work stuff, right? But as soon as it hits that bracket, it's like, okay, I don't have time for this. Like, I'm not supposed to be prioritizing stuff like this because I can't measure it. I'm not going to be able to show any ROI, like all these things, right? So my thesis is that we solve for this data problem like the way that we solve for a number of other things, and that is aligning with what the customers and buyers are actually, what they want, what they need. like not what our internal team needs, not our internal metrics. So I'm gonna run through this real quick because we're already at time. But so this is the value path, which is an 8-stage journey. And this is the fact, like you said a little bit ago, it's complex, right? There's lots of different points of view because there's lots of different ways to slice this problem and how to solve for it. It gets easier when you know that everybody in every industry is going to go through these stages as a buyer and as a customer. But even there's 8 stages, and we're going to talk about how at each stage there's an individual contributor that has hopes and dreams and needs. There's a manager and there's an executive. And you need to care, in most situations, you need to care about all 3 levels, right? So right there's like 24 different ways to slice it. But with the audience stage, how data should serve people in the earliest moments of curiosity. I don't know if we'll get into the ethics of de-anonymization and things like that here. But I know we got some good people, yourself, Casey, and Nick Zeckets. Very excited to help this conversation move. And I get it. Like, if you can't de-anonymize, what else can you do? There's lots of other stuff you could do. So I'm sure we'll go into that to look at what buying intent really looks like. Researcher stage. So this, by the way, this is a newsletter that's going to come out right after the show. All these are links to articles on the Value First site to help you understand what each of these stages mean. It is my response to, like, if I say we can't use leads anymore, then I'm trying to give you other words, other classifications to use, and that's how so these are placement for traditional life cycle stages, right? So researcher stage, once they have a problem to solve, like, how do they go about systematically understanding, gathering evidence, and are you making it easy, for them to do that? Going to talk about that data readiness foundation with Danielle Urban, Jonas, the Metz, and Klemen, because so much of this, Jonas's work on deduplication, well known. Very excited to see him in conversation again. Very hard to know who's ready and who's not when you don't have clean and enriched data.
Yeah.
Hand raiser stage. Klemen's going to be leading this conversation with Joshua Oakes, Stuart Belcom, Madeline Donovan, and Tony Dowling. This is all about, and I would love, like, if I can make a special request, can we lead this panel with, why can't we just call them hand raisers and then call it good? Like, if they don't raise their hand, they are not in this stage. Do we need to do all the work for signals and scores? I think that would be an interesting conversation. Very excited to see them discuss Hero stage. So Hero stands for highly empowered revenue opportunity. How do you support internal champions, right? All these different people that are involved. Not a good idea to try and avoid them when you've got one who you think is bought in, then you hit the purchasing team that says no, because they haven't been involved at all, right? Instead, you're supporting that guy to go to the purchasing team with confidence to say, this is what we need, this is why. Are you empowering those people? So excited to talk to Bill Barless brings kind of a CPQ perspective, product data readiness. Kim Hacker's doing some fun stuff with arrows in their deal rooms. And then Crispy Barnett, like his partner experience, what he's doing with Supered. Partners go so far. We use partners all the time to try to cross this last barrier, and we don't always have them in the CRM. Like, you don't always know who's involved, right? Data architecture is so important. The value creator stage. So how to support teams actively implementing. I call this one value creator because customer says we take that for granted. Like they assume like, okay, your team bought it, so you must trust us. You must know what the value is already. Like, so you're just going to follow the directions and check off the boxes. We know by now that that does not happen in practice, but everybody in that stage has to create value, whether they're individuals, executives, or managers. So we're going to work through that with Klemen leading that panel, me, Aaron Wiggers, and Pedro Michelazzo, who have been doing a really fun revenue architecture series with breaking down the winning by design. And I've done some stuff with Aaron about self-service portals. Data readiness gets a lot easier when people are managing their own data, like in self-service portals. It's a beautiful thing. Adopter stage, how to support customers experiencing the value. Okay, this whole adoption, thing that we've been hearing about for the last 2 years, I feel like nonstop in the HubSpot ecosystem. Like once we're there, how do you know we're there? And what are we doing to support people telling us? And then like expand accounts, do resell, renew, that kind of stuff. So excited to chat with Matthew, Alex Ruxton, Ryan Ginsberg, and Jeanette. There's, again, 3 different perspectives. He's spoken at Inbound about customer success from that perspective, like health scoring. Ryan's been doing a lot of work lately on subscription management inside of HubSpot, like license and renewals and like how to manage that stuff effectively so everybody knows. And we're not just waiting until the end of the contract to tell everybody it's ready to pay, ready to buy more. And then Jeanette from the event marketing side, like with a focus on customers. Should be a fun one. Advocate stage. So how to enable people to be advocates, like internally and externally, is what we're going to be talking about here. And it starts with community. We see it all the time. I think this is the part that HubSpot has just nailed, right? Inbound is a different event because we can all talk about the product in different ways than you experience in other ecosystems. So excited to talk to Riley Powell, Matt Bullion, and Matthias Swinkles on that one. And then lastly, we're going to talk about this very topic. You build a bunch of champions, right? Then how do you help them stay champions, want to be champions? And this is where you give people a higher purpose of like actually leading growth and leading education. We're going to dig into this expert-led growth topic with Klemen and Nico, and hopefully Crispy. We got to double check. I just saw the announcement for the 10K pitch, so we might need some help on that panel. But yeah, man, excited, and I appreciate you so much again for helping coordinate it and doing the work to put it together. But it's hard to think of a more valuable thing that could be happening right now ahead of Inbound. So
yeah. Chris, I also appreciate your work on everything.
And appreciate we should mention the guys at Contrast, like who are letting us use their platform to support this event. We greatly appreciate that team, and I'm experiencing some great things on the HubSpot integration with their platform. So really excited to use that on Thursday.
I had a quick call with Contrast team earlier today, and then they showed me a few tricks within their system. So it feels, even just a moderation of the whole day, and then bringing stuff together, and then making questions and everything, and then syncing that back to HubSpot and so forth. It just feels exciting just to experience that.
And this is the kind of thing that it's going to be unlikely that we really know how well it went, like day of and even days after, because people will have everything available on demand, right? But now everybody's going to Inbound, and they're probably not paying attention to on demand videos when everybody's together in person, right?
Yeah.
But what we will see, and this is the kind of thing, like if you can get to this point of natural sharing is done in ways that is not measurable, but you know it when it happens, right? Because you're hearing it, you're feeling it. And I believe we'll get to inbound and this topic will come up from people that we did not expect it to come up with, right? The Value First Data
Yeah.
Summit. They may not have registered, but they'll see some posts. We realized this at Profoundly earlier this year with the kickoff, right? So it's the challenge is it's a completely different motion than what we're used to from a demand generation perspective, but it is so powerful when you can let that happen and you show up at an event because they're just telling you because they want to tell you and they felt value, not because you kind of forced it out of them. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see. I believe that will come true when we get to inbound. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, man. Any final
Yeah.
thoughts as we wrap up?
For those who are not sure if they need all that, if they need all 8 hours, register. You'll have, as Chris said, on-demand access to it. And then maybe not, tomorrow, but maybe in a week. Part of that will seem way more urgent to think about.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why we plan it for before inbound, so that we can already start talking about it. As I said, I expect the same that topic to pop up in conversations during inbound and for
yeah.
sure after inbound.
That's
Um,
that's that's the why, right? Like
yeah,
inbound, it's gonna be sharing some powerful updates and we've already been seeing an increase in I need help with my data. I expect that to spike after inbound, and now we'll have a great library of content to point to and share and right,
yeah,
we're not forcing it. We could have done this. It would be easy to try and do this to try and get meetings at inbound, right? But nobody's ready for that, right?
yeah,
Just everybody's but what people are going to be ready for and asking about is help with their data after inbound shows us what AI first
yeah.
really
I mean,
means.
if anything, I learned in the past months that's data is the new oil, if I may say so.
Yeah,
And there's no AI system automation to work if you don't clean up and keep your portal tidy. Things will break in a way that you might start implementing AI stuff, but because of the bad outcomes, and mostly I would say the reason might be the bad data, you will have a hard time convincing others internally that, hey, those AI tools are so valuable because things will break at the beginning. And instead of starting at where the root cause for mistakes is, which is the data, and then do that for 2 months, just clean it up. But if you do it right, in 3 months, your portal will be AI ready,
yeah,
and then you'll see the I feel more and more people are realizing clean data is not just for the sake of clean data, which I felt it was a challenge in the past. It was hard to convince people that, hey, you need to pay to clean up your data. It really doesn't hurt you money wise to have 4,000 random contacts in your portal. But if those 4,000 contacts cause your AI
to
to
get
break,
confused. Yeah,
then you have a problem, a real money related problem.
yeah,
And this is, I think, the realization. And in part of the message I hope we'll be able to deliver during Data Summit to everyone. Now is the time to start thinking about data from all sorts of angles.
Yep. There is urgency, but it's not as hard as you think. Right. And there's some, that's what we hope on Thursday. We'll share some of that valuable knowledge that all these experts, whether they've created apps or they help people build out, data models, it's all there, like every angle. And that was the goal, to cover up this problem and try to help people deal with it, so that we can move forward. Because once you're clean, that's the thing. Like, it's always been, okay, we'll do all this work, but now it's still a bunch of work to keep it clean.
Yeah.
Now AI will be able to help you keep it clean like never before.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's all these key differences that we'll shed some light out. We'll shed some light on Thursday and in the weeks and months ahead. So
See you on
until
Thursday.
till
See you on
Thursday coming.
Inbound. Yeah.
All righty.
Have a
Everybody
good
have a
one.
great day. We'll see you next time.
See ya.